my, everything about this game, the presence of the eye catches and sort of, well, I won't spoil anything. Yeah, this totally could be a valid way of experiencing this for the first time, so I won't say a dang word about the plot. The room with the fireplace was always kept in pristine condition so they could entertain guests at any time. Walls colorfully decorated with tapestries and stained glass windows gave testament to their great fortune. The servants' first assignment... See, there you could... Why didn't you put servants'? Doesn't that just look so much better? Fuck, wow, Jesus. The servants' first assignment every morning was to clean this room. Pitchers, silver plates, and silverware were polished to a shine so they could be proudly put to use at a moment's notice. And for events like their daughter's birthday, the room served an even more important role. The table's tops were removable, so they had ordered new tabletops with designs made especially for this occasion. And once the banquet had drawn to a close, tables speckled with half-empty wine glasses and leftover candied fruits were moved off to the side to make room for, of course, the festivities. "Good evening, Lady Nellie. You're looking particularly lovely today. Nellie, I had these jewels cut just for you. You'll let me have this dance, won't you?" What's the matter, Nellie? You look exhausted. These are pretty good. Want one? I know you like sweets. They're apples candied in rock sugar, I think.
You disappoint me, dearest Mel. Dearest Mel. What do you think is the matter? They just keep coming. It never ends. It's driving me up the wall. Everyone's just repeating the same lines they've been taught. They all think pretty jewels and requests to dance are enough to make a girl swoon.
But I think that is true for you, Nellie. Though, why is she disappointed with me?
Ugh, I think I'm done with birthday parties after this year.
They'll probably throw an even bigger one next year.
Huh? Why?
Well, you know, you're about that age, Nellie. We are a reasonably distinguished family, so there are a number of different houses that would like to have connections with us. So
what you're saying is do it for the family?
No, that's not...
I won't date or marry anyone. I have no interest in being used as a pawn in their interfamily politics.
Pawn? I wouldn't go that far. And I'm sure Father wants to let you choose yourself. You know, someone you actually love.
Love? I never thought I would hear you talking about love, dearest Mel. You don't even understand what makes Shakespeare's plays so beautiful, and you're talking about love. You fell asleep during Romeo and Juliet, and you're talking about love? We went all the way out to the Globe Theater, too.
Well, pardon me for being ignorant when it comes to romance and the arts. But you're not, Nellie. Shakespeare's make-believe story made you cry like a baby.
Anyone would cry at that. You'd have to be crazy to sleep through it.
That's not what I'm saying. Someone as emotionally vibrant as you, Nellie, would have no problem finding love.
Ah, dearest Mel. We should dance. Lady Nellie, could I have this? Let's dance, dearest Mel.
What? Me?
Later. Come on, I really like this song.
Quit pulling on me, Nellie. What's the point of us dancing? We're siblings. Mother and Father are staring daggers at us.
No matter. What day is it today, dearest Mel?
Your birthday.
Exactly, so I can do what I want. Now attend to your princess, as a proper prince should.
Oh, jeez. How did I get myself into this? Nellie's skirt fluttered along with her. Nellie's skirt fluttered along with her as she stepped in time to the music. She was not only a skilled singer, but a skilled dancer as well. Mel, on the other hand, fumbled over his own feet trying to keep up. One would be hard-pressed to describe his dance abilities as good, even as flattery. The boys of his pedigree were taught to dance as part of their etiquette lessons. He found himself more being dragged around by his sister. He could hardly be said to be attending to her. This is humiliating. Because his parents had been hands-off in raising him, largely giving him free rein to study and learn what he pleased, Mel looked like a tangled-up marionette. From throughout the hall he could hear giggling, uncomfortable chuckling, and people coughing to disguise their laughter. Whoa! Hit my microphone.
Come now, dearest Mel. If this is the best you can manage, what are you going to do when you find a girl that catches your eye?
I won't, so it doesn't matter.
Follow my lead, Mel. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Nellie alone enjoyed her time dancing with her brother, and quite thoroughly at that. It did not matter to her that he moved awkwardly or that the guests were giving them cold stares. It was their parents who first cracked under the pressure. Just as their father was about to give an exaggerated cough and stop the music, a ruckus suddenly swelled up near the entrance.
What could that be?
Whew. Nellie's voice takes a toll. Who knows? Whatever's going on, I've been spared. The music came to a stop, and the party guests began bustling. The siblings' father spoke up sternly above the noise in order to quell the spreading commotion. He ordered the servants to investigate, had the music restarted, and gave a short apology for the interruption, and set the party back on course. I went to go check on the entrance with the other servants, as I recall. Oh my, why are you looking at me like that? These are not my memories, but those which dwell within the mansion. Do you think we should be following what happens next from my perspective, then? That is not what confused you? Well, your questions shall be answered in time. In time. Now let us return to our tale. Though the party had fallen still for a moment, their father's decisive actions restored the guests' festive moods in short order. Ooh. Yeah. Sorry, I if this is your first time watching me, I burp. Yeah, I realize that can be a turnoff for some, but it's just who I am, and when I voice act for long enough, I burp, and everyone I've ever worked with loves it, so I'm gonna expect everyone who's watching to love it too, okay? It's probably not, but I'm sorry. It's just how it's gonna be. So it was not by any means the commotion that caused the ball to conclude earlier than planned.
Oh dear, I hear thunder.
It was rather loud, too. Sounds like we have quite the storm brewing. They lived in a country where the weather was nothing if not unpredictable. Rain was a frequent occurrence there. The stretches of time with clear skies grew longer as summer approached, but the weather was still somewhat unstable on the cusp of the two seasons. They had a strong wind that night as well, which turned the raindrops into little spears on the window. Were the party to continue on any longer, no one would be able to go home. Although their father was quite concerned that Nellie had not got on with any of the aristocrat boys, he decided to cut the festivities short. I love those screen flashes that happen sometime, denoting a moment of import, something you should remember.
Thank goodness it ended early. How lucky I am. This must be a blessing for always being such a good girl. I'm not sure having your own birthday party cut...
I'm not sure having your own birthday party cut short counts as lucky.
But it was no fun. I can't help it if I'm not enjoying myself. And for heaven's sake, Arthur was here. I have no interest in dancing with that dunce.
Arthur? Who's that again? Someone who was here?
Unbelievable. You don't remember anything, do you, dearest Mel? He came over to play a few times when we were little. He's covered in gross freckles and he's a huge jerk. He said my hair looked like the color of fallen leaves. Fallen leaves! Just thinking about that ugly smirk has me fuming. And yet he acts like nothing happened. He even calls me Lady Nellie, for goodness sake. For goodness's sake. Are you even listening, dearest Mel?
I'm listening. I wonder what the ruckus earlier was.
Ugh, you weren't listening, were you? Who cares about that?
Sorry, but aren't you curious? It probably wasn't another guest, at least.
Maybe a cat sneaked in.
You think so?
I do. But enough about that. Would you like to play cards in my room, dearest Mel?
Seriously, I'm exhausted, though.
It's not even that late.
Fine. Something feels kind of off. A cat? I want to go check.
Come on, hurry up.
Hold on. You don't need to drag me, Nellie.
My birthday isn't over yet, so you're not done attending to me.
Oh, Nellie. There's another flash. Of lightning. Shridataridia. The rain just won't let up. I can't sleep. I wonder what the commotion earlier was about. Oh, for goodness sake. It's all the storm's fault. That's why I can't sleep. I'm just fretting over nothing. I'm sure Nellie was right. It was just a cat. Maybe a dog. I can't sleep. I hardly ever have this much trouble falling asleep. Could have fooled me with the bags under your eyes. What could this feeling be, I wonder? It's not quite foreboding. Walking around the house at this time of night isn't going to help anything, but I'm not going to fall asleep just lying here. The only sounds that could be heard in the dark corridors were the sharp pitter-patter of the rain, his footsteps, and his breathing. Though he was intimately familiar with the layout of the house, that night the hallways felt like an endless labyrinth veiled in shadows. No moonlight shone through the windows, so he naturally found himself moving cautiously, despite being in his own residence. Keeping the palm of his hand pressed up against the chilly wall, he put one foot in front of the other. But to where was he supposed to head? Mel, of course, had no way of answering that question himself. If he had anything, it was guidance from above, the path to his destination lit by flashes of lightning, or perhaps there was something else leading him along. Though he progressed with a fair bit of hesitation in his step, Mel was slowly but surely drawing nearer to one room in particular. He made his way through the seemingly endless halls, past the living room, its fireplace long since cooled, into another corridor that looked exactly the same, and then stopped outside an Abigail's bedchamber. The dim glow of a lamp spilled through the cracks in the door. A gust of wind is not necessary to make a flame flicker. A person's movements or vibrations in the air from someone speaking, the slightest of motions can cause the light of a fire to quiver, shifting subtly as though nudged by an invisible fingertip. I can see light from inside. Is she still awake? A voice. He seemed to be hesitating. It would not be difficult for him to approach the door and peer inside. But he had reservations about peeping in on another's chambers, even if it was his own house. Moreover, this room was assigned to a woman. There was a woman behind that door. What would you do, Master, in this situation? Would you succumb to your curiosity and gaze inside? Or would you respect the owner's privacy? I shouldn't be doing this, but the voice... it feels like it's calling to... me? Or someone else? Yes, me, could sense someone watching me at that moment. He had succumbed to his curiosity. He had stood on the other side of the door from me, his flaxen eyes open wide, trying to remain as invisible as possible. The wavering in his heart seemed to create faint ripples in the air, which I pretended not to notice. Yes, I knew he was there. I could sense his presence and his wavering emotions. However, I could not begin to speculate as to his true feelings, or how great a surprise this was to him. I, too, am discovering new facets of this tale by viewing it through the eyes of the mansion. But it is not I who is of concern, Master. It is you. You and... I know I shouldn't be doing this. I should be ashamed of myself, but I can't look away. Who is that? Her skin, it's so pale you can practically see through it. Is it that white because she was out in the cold rain? Her hair is white as snow, and her eyes, they're like, how do I describe it? My vocabulary truly lacks for situations like this. They look like blood. No, that's just disturbing. Then wine, perhaps. No, more translucent than that. Gemstones, then. Yes, gemstones. Her eyes are like rubies. I've never seen anyone like her before. What could they be talking about? Mel's eyes were fixed on the peculiar young woman. She had glass-like skin, eyes that glimmered in the flickering candlelight, and snow-white hair that flowed like luxurious silk. But her lips were bluish-purple, her soft, delicate skin sullied with grime, her twinkling eyes pointed down at the floor, and her hair a disheveled mess. Bro, if that's what you call a disheveled mess, then my hair is a fucking raging trash fire, my god. She was, even at a glance, clearly not a lady of means. The tips of her fingers were cracked from the cold, her nails pale from malnutrition, and her garb little more than rags. However, true beauty is always visible, no matter what it may be hidden beneath, even wrapped in a veil of insalubrity. Even if she thought herself hideous. I wonder what happened to her. Mel could no longer avert his gaze from the girl's visage. He had, for the time being, forgotten the shame he felt for peeping. As he strained his ears to hear the conversation taking place inside, a sickly voice arose from the white-haired girl's purple lips. So feeble was the sound that a gentle breeze blowing through the room could carry it away. I apologize for the trouble. Think nothing of it. Give your apologies and thanks to the mistress. Understood. There is something strangely comforting about this house, almost as if I've been here before. If my father were here, I'm sure he would be quite fond of it. I am sorry about your father. Oh, that's not... There's nothing you could have done, I imagine. When you came to our rescue, he was already... Rescue? Father? Was that perchance what the commotion was about? He stared intently, entranced by the scene unfolding beyond the door. A gaze can often signal one's presence to others more effectively than words. The white-haired girl could likely sense him there as well. She flickered her gem-like eyes upward. That was when the boy finally felt a pang of panic. For a split second, his flaxen eyes met with her ruby eyes, causing him to recoil from the door. His heart was pounding like the rain outside. Careful not to make a sound, he took 1-2 steps away. Did she catch me? I'm not sure. It was only for a moment. She can't have seen me. The boy did not have the courage to peek in on the room a second time, so he cautiously returned to his bedchamber as quietly as he could manage. But even beneath his covers, he could not erase that girl's eyes from memory. Her melancholic red irises, her voice delicate as a glass sculpture, her pale, almost lifeless skin, her pure white hair. Every singular detail kept him from banishing her image from his mind. Nor could he restrain his heavily pounding heart. Who could she be? Look at how beautiful. Both of them. The maid is more my speed, though, personally. I'm sure those who have watched for a little bit could have guessed that. Is something the matter? No, I just felt as though I felt someone watching us. I just thought I felt someone watching us. It's only your imagination, I'm sure. If not your imagination, then perhaps some unseen force was watching you. Unseen force. Are you familiar with how people refer to this mansion? Rose Manor. Yes, indeed. It is called Rose Manor because you can smell the sweet fragrance of the rose garden even at a great distance. Also, I forgot to mention, I do have a fan going because it is summer, and I apologize if you can hear it. But I do require it to stay alive. The maid could have probably used a fan at some point in her life. God, just thinking about the whole plot of this game, it makes me... I'll get into it at a later time, a much later time. But that is not what I meant. It is said that a witch resides within the house. A witch. I have not heard any such stories. You probably wouldn't have. It was a very, very long time ago. Nothing you need concern yourself with. You have a peculiar presence about you. Should I consider that a compliment? It's getting late. You should get some rest. A room has already been set aside for you. But first, may I ask you one thing? Yes? I do not believe you have given me your name yet. My name is... Luciole.
Wake up. Get up, Mel!
What? Huh? It's morning?
You disappoint me, dearest Mel. It's very much long since morning. I didn't see you at breakfast, so I came to find out what was the matter.
I've really been asleep that long?
And Father is too lenient on you, dearest Mel. Oversleeping is hardly proper behavior for a firstborn son.
I know. But before that...
Yes, dearest Mel?
What are you doing in here? You can't just go prancing into a boy's bedchamber. Leave that to the servants.
I did send one for you. You're the one who refused to wake up. Besides, it's not like we're strangers. We used to sleep together all the time.
That was long ago. Things are different now.
Oh, you're overthinking it, silly. Now hurry up. Out of bed, sleepyhead.
All right. I'm getting up. So you can see yourself out.
Oh my, you look awful, dearest Mel. For someone who overslept, you look like you didn't get a wink last night.
You think so?
You didn't go out on the town last night, did you? Naughty, naughty boy.
I would never. You know that.
You squeaked. I don't think I believe you.
I would never. You know that. Maybe. I didn't go out last night or anything. I'm tired because you had me playing cards until late, Nellie.
Hey, we weren't playing for that long. Besides, look at me. I got up just fine.
Anyway, shoo! I can't get dressed with you in here.
Fine, I'm leaving. Oh, I almost forgot, dearest Mel.
What now?
Come on, no need to be mean. I'm sure you'll be quite surprised at the news.
Oh?
At breakfast, which you missed, Father told us...
Told you what?
Do I really want to say? It sounds like you want me out of your room, dearest Mel.
Please, Nellie.
We got a new maid today, from a house we have ties to, supposedly. I've never seen anyone like her before. For supposedly coming from a good family, she isn't very graceful, and I've never seen her at social gatherings. But that's not the surprising part.
Does that maid...
She's peculiar. Has a very unusual appearance, that one.
Have white hair?
What? How do you know that, dearest Mel?
Thanks, Nellie.
Hey, get back here! Oh, for goodness sake, what's gotten into him?
At the time, the majority of the servants in the mansion were men. However, the ladies of the house all had Abigails, so there were several women servants, myself included. The maids, by and large, were selected from the daughters of other esteemed families. It was, you could say, a sort of training before they entered society. The girls would serve at houses even more powerful than their own, and the white-haired girl Mel saw the night before was one such maid. When he heard this, Mel could not sit still any longer. I didn't really think this through, did I? I don't even know where she is. I'm guessing she's probably Mother's maid. White hair. It has to be the girl from last night. But deep down, he was having difficulty believing the young woman he had seen the previous night was truly here to be a servant. And can you blame him? When he saw her, she was an absolute mess, hardly what you would envision from a girl of class. But he did not seek to find out whether that was true. But he did not seek her out, whatever it said. He merely wanted to see her once more, to ascertain whether what he had witnessed the previous night was real or his imagination. And he wanted to have an actual conversation with her. I don't want to run into Mother, that would be awkward. He was heading toward his mother's bedchamber, but the closer he drew, the heavier each step grew. He rounded a corner, debating whether or not to head back, and stopped in his tracks. On occasion, wishes do come true. When Mel turned the corner, he saw her, the same girl, that same white hair. Ah! She appeared to be cleaning the hallway. She traced along the wooden carvings lining the walls, making certain not to miss even a speck of dust. The girl wore a pristine dress, the uniform of the mansion's Abigail's. There was no longer any filth to obscure her beauty. All that had covered her pure white hair and glass-like skin was no longer. The one thing that had not changed was her listless ruby eyes. "Pardon me." Hearing his footsteps, the young woman raised her head. She caught Mel's gaze and for a brief moment merely blinked at him in silence. "Lord Mel, yes? Your father informed me of you." Did he? I guess I don't need to introduce myself then." I believe she made an attempt to smile, though it was difficult to tell, and she quickly dropped her gaze back to the floor. Flax and Ruby met only for the briefest moment. She seemed to be looking at both someone and no one at all. "Everyone here truly has the most beautiful color of hair. Did you have business with the mistress, Lord Mel? I can let her know if you would like." "No, I was looking for you." "For me?" Mel felt as though all the blood in his body had begun to flow backwards. He could not effectively describe the sensation, but in a word it resembled panic. On his way to find her, Mel had come up with a number of subjects he wanted to talk about, and he generally had little trouble speaking with others. He'd had less experience interacting with women, this was true, but the time he had spent around Nellie had kept him from stumbling too much. Until then. Yes, for you! Why would you be looking for me, Lord Mel? I was wondering how you were doing. Pardon? Oh shit. I'm quite fine. Good! That's great to hear. You fool, Mel, what are you even saying? You have more important things to ask, like where she came from, or to tell her she has pretty hair and eyes. But I don't want to trouble her too much. Lord Mel? Yes! Sorry, you just suddenly fell silent. Was I, in your way? In my way? No, not at all. What are you up to? I'm cleaning. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't even need to ask. Well, yeah, I didn't even need to ask. Didn't see that was internal for a moment. Ah, you're cleaning! You can just let the other servants take care of the cleaning. You're one of the noble's daughters we took in, right? Then why is Mother making... No, I'm doing this because I want to. The mistress appeared to be busy, and I could not simply be idle. But I enjoy cleaning. Well, if you say so. Say, yesterday... This mansion is truly a thing of beauty. All the many roses in the garden, even the furnishing has had a great deal of thought put into it. This family must have a wonderful sense of aesthetic. Oh, yeah, thanks. Did she just change the subject on me? I'm delighted to have been given the opportunity to serve at such a magnificent house. Mother and Father actually had nothing to do with that, not even the garden. That's all been around since my grandfather's time. This mansion was a complete wreck when he bought it. Oh, was it? Yeah, frankly I'm surprised he actually paid money for it. The chandelier in the foyer was shattered and only half attached to the ceiling. Most of the decorations on the walls were broken. I can hardly imagine. This is a marvelous, impressive house. I'm sure he'd be flattered to hear it. My grandfather was a bit of an eccentric. He liked to do things people didn't expect just to watch the looks of surprise on their faces. He was the kind of man who would buy a mansion that was beyond repair just to give it a completely new life. Everyone who had seen the property before it was renovated was astonished. Whew. They regretted not taking the opportunity themselves, seeing the transformation it underwent. Huh? I was just thinking that you're kind of like this house. What do you mean by that? I mean, when you first arrived. Oh, no, never mind, forget it. She'll figure out you were peeping on her, stupid. She hasn't yet, has she? Yes? It's nothing. The more I think about it, you and the mansion aren't really comparable. Oh? The truth is, it being a rundown mess isn't the only reason nobody wanted to buy the house. They say that all who dwell within this house shall be met with misfortune. Do you believe it? I'm just kidding. It's not actually true. It's all rumors and hearsay, embellished to make the tale more exciting. The rumors only started because of how it used to look. If the mansion truly begot misfortune, then we wouldn't still be here. And it wouldn't explain how my grandfather died. Do you know how he passed away? No, how did he? Inside a lovely lady. What? Believe it or not, that was how he died. Together with a young, beautiful woman. His time ran out while he was making love to her, they say. Honestly, of all the ways to go, it would be, obviously, this would be traumatizing for the other party, but I'm saying, for two people to go out together at the same time, fucking, that's just about the coolest damn thing I ever did hear. I should write that into a story. Like, actually, like a power couple, like, fucking each other to death. Instead of, like, the age-old fight to the death. Oh, that would be cool. No one steal that idea. Actually do, because I want to see it as many times as I possibly can. A rather crude way to go. But he was hardly misfortunate. What did I tell you? Ah! Yes? Just so you know, I promise I didn't inherit my grandfather's propensity for such base behavior. I am pure of body and spirit, dedicated wholly to my studies, so... Hey, she left. My apologies. No, it's fine. Look at just how fucking detailed the art is, specifically on the white-haired girl here. I challenge you to find more depth in a 2D fucking drawing. You know? For a visual novel especially, like, come on, man. Unbelievable. Anyway, we were talking about the mansion, right? I've always thought it was kind of a strange place myself. That dress you're wearing, it was found here after my grandfather bought it. You don't see that kind of design around these parts, so I'm guessing it was probably imported. Foreshadowing. The architecture is really old-fashioned too, which must have caught grandfather's eye. When he announced his plans to buy it, the entire family opposed his decision, but he refused to budge. Renovation upon renovation gave the mansion new life, but of all his work, he was most fond of the roses in the garden. I'm starting to slur my words a little bit. Blah, 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 blah. She stood on the stoop of Burgess's fish sauce shop, saying, "The Leith police dismisseth us, and that sufficeth us." He collected species from all across the world, and every time he got a new one, he would summon gardeners to arrange and grow them. It took an incredibly long time to complete. There were even some that wouldn't grow in the climate of this land, but grandfather refused to give in. He truly loved roses. Me, I don't really get how someone could be so impassioned about them. It's just embarrassing every time someone calls this house Rose Manor.
Perhaps the roses were meant for someone.
What?
I am simply speculating. Roses make wonderful gifts, after all.
Indeed they do. If you... pardon me, don't burp in front of her, Mel! If you like roses as much as Nellie, then you're welcome to go see them for yourself. Pick as many as you'd like. If anyone asks, they just say I gave you... If anyone asks, just say I gave you permission. Don't be shy. I'm sure it'll get tiring if all you do is work.
No, I'm sensitive to sunlight.
Oh? That's unusual. Perhaps that explains why you're so pale. I had no idea. That sounds rough. And your skin is so pretty, too.
You don't seem terribly surprised.
Oh no, I'm very much surprised. Or would you have preferred a more dramatic response?
No, I expected you to find it disturbing. I'm sensitive to sunlight and can hardly spend any time outside. That makes me sound like some kind of demonic creature.
Huh? Oh, you worry too much. There's not a monster in the world as sweet as you.
Yes?
Oh, okay, let me try that again. Oh, you worry too much. There's not a monster in the world as sweet as you.
Yes?
Are the other maids teasing you, perhaps? I don't know, that just felt weird the first read-through. That black-haired one especially, she's, how should I put it, a little frightening. Almost as if she has a steel heart or something. She's impenetrable. Right, she's one of Mother's maids too, isn't she? Now I'm even more worried. Since you refuse to follow my instructions, you are henceforth Hellspawn! I can imagine her saying that. Oh, and again.
I am very sorry.
No need to apologize. In fact, I wish you'd laugh more.
She's actually very kind to me, and everything she does with incredible precision and efficiency. She looks so young, and yet she has such skill. How long has she been here in the mansion?
Actually, she's been here for quite some time, but I don't know exactly how long. No one knows how old she is. It's kind of creepy.
I have never once considered her such.
Sorry, you're right. It's bad manners to speak ill of others. Sorry if throughout this there are any sudden cuts. One of the dogs I'm looking after is a real little one. She's young, she's small, she's full of piss and vinegar, so the slightest innocuous noise from outside can elicit quite a grand, over-dramatic response. That might be happening to me a lot. It probably annoys me more than it'll annoy you, but yeah. I'll try not to bring it up too much or allow you to hear it. Either way, she still scares me. It's like there's no light in her eyes, or like all her smiles are faked. That doesn't make her any less pretty, though. The conversation died. I have to think of something else to talk about. Yes, you can ask me anything.
Does the master, your father, Lord Mel, often retire from the mansion? I have not seen him around.
Oh, yeah, father frequently returns home. This mansion is actually our secondary house. Why do you ask, though?
I was just curious, nothing more.
Oh? Yes, what is it?
One of the maids asked to see me, so I should be on my way, if you'll excuse me.
What? All right. See you later, then.
Goodbye.
Oh, right, one moment. Since you're sensitive to the sun, I can pick some roses from time to time for you. For you to decorate your room. Lord Mel. That's all. Sorry for holding you up. Why am I so bad at this? She definitely thinks I'm obnoxious. I want to hide under a rock. I want to reverse time and try this over again. Roses are not becoming of me. He is too kind.